Good afternoon. Today on Business Success in Six with Stacie, I have Scott Starr here from RevPop in Milwaukee. Thank you so much for jumping on with me.
Sure thing. Happy to be here.
So, we are very interested in learning a little bit more about how you can help our clients and community. So, if you don't mind, I'm going to ask you 6 questions and we'll learn all about RevPop. Is that cool?
Sounds good.
Awesome. Thank you. So, when people ask you what RevPop does, how do you describe it?
We are a creative agency focused on branding and graphic design, advertising, photography, video, content creation. We do a lot of social media. So anything revolving under that brand umbrella is our gig.
Yeah. So you offer obviously a lot of different services. Were those your plans when you started, or what were your plans when you started your business, and how has that changed?
I started Rev Pop in 2006, coming from working for a large agency out of Chicago. I moved to Milwaukee. I grew up in Brookfield, actually. Went to school in Madison, moved to Chicago for work for a couple years. And Rev Pop was my way to work one-on-one with smaller, medium-sized companies, from start from scratch, naming, branding, and working locally with businesses rather than larger agencies that are a little difficult to have a certain amount of control over the entire look and feel.
Sure.
So I was more intrigued by working with smaller companies that we could help with that didn't have large budgets for advertising firms.
Very neat. Yeah. And then you can really use your creativity and, your professional input without having to deal with a million different boards or whoever else to get through things, right?
Yeah, and a lot of hands touching different things at multiple times. I think the idea was to create my perfect ideal size was around the size we are now, actually, and be multifaceted in a way that we could provide different services, whether it be photography or video or website design, but on a smaller scale.
Very cool. What is the biggest way that you impact the community?
Um, I think it's bringing that big agency skill set into a smaller environment like Milwaukee, where we can work with local restaurants, mom and pop shops, or Kickstarters, folks that want big branding
Mhm.
and high design, yet they might not have the budget for some of the larger agencies that provide the same services but at higher prices. So a lot of our clients are smaller, owned establishments that are local community members, right? That we become friends with over time, and we're continually doing work for them on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis.
That's great. Especially, yeah, some of those business owners, they just don't have the skills and they end up having to try and wear these hats that just don't fit them. So thank you for that. And one more question that I don't always ask, but because you talk about branding, why Rev Pop? What does your name mean? What does your brand mean?
Rev. So back in when I went to school in Madison, I had a I was really into music. I was in a band, and one of my favorite record companies was Sub Pop Records.
Okay.
And I used to do these screen print posters as a little hobby, and I'd sign it off Rev Pop as like Rev Your Engine and Pop Art. And I remember that was one of the first domains I purchased and didn't really have anything to do with it. And when I was starting a company, um, I probably had the idea, came up with the name probably around 2001. And then in 2004 or five was when I became established. And that was kind of like the name that stuck with me the entire time. And uh, you know, to this day, still around. So,
Love it. Yep, definitely pops. I love it.
mhm.
Rev your engines too. That's great. Thank you for answering that for me. The next question, what is one challenge that you have faced that other business owners can learn from?
Um, it's the biggest, hurdle for me in starting business was, finding the right people to work with.
Mhm.
Um, Hiring is I wouldn't say a hurdle, but I'm the type of person that is reluctant to, put um, uh, a post out in the world and say I'm looking for this person.
Mhm.
The majority of people that work for RevPop who have ever worked for me are typically through networking or friends, people that I know over time. I've been lucky enough to hire really good people that way and not have to go out and um, uh, you know um, um, dive deep and do a big search on the people that I need. I like to keep things small and tight.
Sure.
Um, and I think the I guess the threshold between being too small or too big, or when to grow or when to hire or take on more projects, that whole thing for me took a long time for me to figure out on, when you're small and you're one person, like that's a hurdle on how you hire your first one or two people. And
Mhm.
then it's a whole nother story when you get really busy and you can't help but hire more people, and then you realize your capacity on what size you should be, and you settle in there. I think that was one thing that you can't read in a book. A lot of I'm the type of person that if I want to learn something, um I can go out and watch videos or read books or ask questions. And I think no matter who you are when you start a business, there is no one book or resource you can go to that's going to tell you how to do it. Everybody to each their own. um, it's your own path, and you're going to discover some of these things on your own, and you kind of have to go through the process to learn those things. So you can get advice along the way, but you really don't know. I still don't know what I'm doing. I think it's important to know that it's a ever evolving and learning process, that you're not meant to know everything. You just kind of learn along the way, and you through trial and error, and through the advice of others, you hope to make good decisions and hire the right people and take on the right amount of work. And that in itself is a challenge, and that's also the fun part.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got that entrepreneurial spirit in you, constantly learning, changing. And that's really, really good advice for our viewers. Thank you so much for sharing that. What does the future look like to you? And do you have an exit plan?
um when I asked the question, I feel like I should have here's where I want to be in 5 years. And it's weird when I think about it, and I'm like, I kind of hope that I'm in the same place and doing the same thing in 5 years. I just feel like it's again more of the mentality is like, I hope I know more and learn more things to better streamline and do the same things I'm doing right now, but more efficient, and um, a better manager and teammate to my coworkers, and all those things. I don't see, to me at this point, growth is not a money thing. It's more about growing as people and a business, and becoming better um, to our clients, and better offerings, and learning more and those kinds of things. I see growth as that.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not the type of person that sets goals or long-term goals. My goals are, day to day, week by week.
Mhm.
Um, I like the mystery of not knowing where we're going to be in 5 years. I kind of roll with the punches that way because I feel like I'm setting myself up for failure if I just start to write down where I want to be in a year or two or three, because it's probably not gonna happen. So it's more short-term goals for me.
Very interesting. Well, thank you for sharing that as well. All subjects open. What inspires you most?
Hmm. Um, I think other businesses that are doing really cool things. My coworkers inspire me every day. People that are motivated to go out and make things through passion and not, because it's a job or a career. It's really hard to start a business. It's really hard to uh, get clients. The people that are doing those things, doing it well, and still are good people in during the process. Uh, are inspiration to me to be a better person, a better business owner. Um, People that do less complaining and spreading aggravation are the people that don't inspire me.
Mhm.
It's positive reinforcement and those kinds of things. It could very on a small scale. Kind people, those are the people that inspire me.
I would absolutely agree. And you can tell how much care you have inside of you when you talk about your growth plan as an individual and growing your team and help being a better manager. Like thinking about things like that. That's a lot that people and leaders don't always think about. How can I be a better manager? They think about how can I make more money or how can I do this? And you can tell that you truly care. So thank you so much. If somebody wants to get in touch with you or RevPop to use your services, what's the best way for them to do that?
Just through our website, revpop.com. We have our email there. You can also text us from there, or email, whatever. We prefer email, but yeah, revpop.com or Instagram. That's typically the best way.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Scott, for your time, for sharing RevPop with us. And I wish you a wonderful, wonderful new year.
Of course, you too.
Thank you. Bye.